Hi everyone, welcome back to Virtual Programming with Boys and Girls Clubs of the Fox Valley. My name is Miss Chelsea. I work at the Downtown Club here in Appleton. Anyway, why don't I tell you about our art project today? So for today's project, we will be making a paper fidget. So many of you know what fidgets are. They are small tools that we use when we are feeling overwhelmed or upset and need something to help distract us and calm us down. For today's project, I will show you how to make a fidget that turns from this shape into this shape. As always, let's get our materials ready. For today's project, it's pretty simple. You are going to want a couple pieces of blank paper. If you have colored paper, that's okay. I did find out with this project though that it is better if you have smooth paper. A lot of times construction paper, the colored kind, can be a little rough and that might hinder the movement of your fidget. Either way though, try and find some smooth blank paper. You will also need a scissors, as always, please be safe. And then you'll need your coloring supplies. So whether that's crayons or markers, whatever it is you're most comfortable with, anything will work for this project. So why don't we get started? So our first step for the project today is to cut our paper into 8 equal squares. It doesn't matter how big or how small the squares are, that will determine the size of your fidget. I would probably say if you're using a ruler to make your squares, you want to be making squares that are probably 4 inches by 4 inches. So you can either use a ruler to measure out your squares, or if you remember from our fortune teller video, you can always make a square by folding the diagonal corners together and then cutting off that extra paper. So we're going to take a second and cut out our 8 squares, all of the same size. So as you can see here, I have 8 squares of paper now for my fidget. Our next step is to color our squares before we fold and make our fidget. So you only need to color one side of your paper. The other side will be folded inward, so we won't be able to see it, but let's get that done. So now that we've gotten our squares cut and colored, our next step is to start folding them into the shape we'll need to make our fidget. So starting with one square, you are going to be folding it in half both ways and then also diagonally both ways. So let's do that really quick. So you're going to fold it in half one way, right? And then you're going to fold it in half the other way. You're going to fold them diagonally. And then diagonally again. The next step, you're going to flip the colored side down, and you're going to take one corner and fold it to the middle. So if you watched our fortune teller video, this is kind of that same idea of matching the plane up to the middle and making sure nothing's overlapping. You're going to take the corner next to it and also fold that into the middle. So as I said, make sure nothing's overlapping. So it might take a little bit of patience to get it where you need it to be. So just take your time, there's no rush. All right, and this is what you're going to want to see. It's kind of a little house shape. Next, you're going to take it and fold it together kind of like a sandwich. Alright, until you get a shape that looks like this. The last step of the folding is you're going to kind of pop it open on the bottom, and then you should be able, with the folds you made, to push this end part inside and then fold it along those edges so that you get a shape that looks kind of like a parallelogram, if you know what that is. All right, so if you can see right here, I pushed that colored part into the bottom using those folds we made. So we're going to take a minute and we're going to do the exact same process with the other 7 squares. So our final step with making our fidget is putting it together. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of your little shapes here, all right, and you're going to hold it so that this little flap that opens is in your right hand, and you can hold on to the other tip with your left hand. All right, so you can open up that little flap a little bit, and then you're going to take another one of your shapes, and you're going to, again, make sure the flap is on the right and the point is on the left. You're going to put the point into the flap of your first piece. All right, and you can hold it together a little bit. You see how these points are sticking out at the end? What we're going to do is fold those down so that they get held in between the flap of your second piece. All right, and now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat that process with the rest of your flaps until you've made a circle. So why don't we get started on that? So your final product should look like this guy here. A little circle. And what happens is when you push it together using the corners, you'll start to make kind of like a ninja star. See? And then when you're ready, you can pull it by the corners and move it back out to your first circle shape. I hope you enjoyed making our paper fidget today. As always, if you followed along with the project, please do share. As always, like I said, I'm very proud of you for continuing to learn and grow even while we're not in school. I hope you are staying safe and healthy, and I wish all of you the best. I'll see you on the next video.